Hello everybody, welcome in. My name is Skeleton. Normally, I don't go out of my way to watch bad movies. In fact, I rarely find a movie that terrible. For me, a bad movie only feels bad when I go in with high expectations and end up disappointed. Even then, it's really so awful that I'm completely repulsed. So I wanted to challenge myself. Could I find a horror movie bad enough to make me feel that way? I found a list of the worst rated movies on Rotten Tomatoes ranked by their tomato meter scores. If you're not familiar, the tomato meter reflects critic reviews, while the popcorn meter score represents audience ratings. Many of these movies had scores below 10% on the tomato meter, but I wanted to go even lower. So I set out to find one with a 0 tomato meter score and the lowest possible popcorn score. Cabin Fever from 2016, a remake of the 2002 horror film. Cabin Fever holds a 0% on the tomato meter and a 12% on the popcorn meter. So basically, critics and audiences agree that this movie is trash. To get a better idea, I cross-checked the ratings on other sites. So on IMDb, it sits at 3.7 out of 10, and on Metacritic, it's at 14%. But then I checked Google, and surprisingly 69%, nice, of Google users like this movie, which is weirdly high compared to the other ratings. But before diving into my thoughts, here's a quick spoiler-free premise. Cabin Fever follows a group of 5 young adults heading to a rented cabin for a week-long getaway. Their names are Marcy, Jeff, Paul, Karen, and Bert. No video games, no social media, no internet, just them, the great outdoors, and a whole lot of drinking, swimming, and romantic activities. And maybe a lot of them. This isn't a romance, right? Anyway, since this is a horror film, things go south pretty quickly. There's plenty of violence and gore, so if you're squeamish, I wouldn't recommend watching it. Amongst other reasons, I wouldn't recommend watching it, but we'll get into that. Cabin Fever was directed by Travis Zerini, who was also involved in the production of the 2006 movie Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, a film with a much higher rating. Zerini has also worked on several other films, though unfortunately most of them either didn't do well or weren't popular enough to receive a notable rating. Now, it's time to dive into my thoughts on the film, which means major spoilers. If you're planning to watch Cabin Fever and want to experience it for yourself, this is your cue to click away. Go somewhere else. Go watch another video of mine. Like and subscribe. To start, I just want to say this movie could have been good. There were moments where it almost felt like it was heading in the right direction, but then it would just drop the ball and go right back to being bad. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's just start right from the very beginning. Right away, they stop at a gas station to pick up beer, which, why didn't they just do that before leaving? I don't know. While they're there, they spot a kid wearing a bunny mask, just chilling there, just sitting, enjoying his time. So naturally, they decide to go up to him and to talk to him. Bad idea. The kid immediately bites Paul hard enough to draw blood. Then the dad storms out and starts yelling at the kid, and Paul for some reason goes, "It's not the kid's fault. Sir, he literally bit you." But instead of appreciating Paul's weird attempt at defending his child, the dad even gets angrier and snaps, "Don't tell me how to treat my child." Huh? Your son just bit a stranger, and you're mad at the victim for saying it's fine? Then the dad says, "Everyone knows not to get close to him." First of all, that is so incredibly sad. Second of all, how were they supposed to know not to do that? Whatever. They grab their beer, get a quick warning about staying in the woods, and then they get sent on their way. And once they arrive at the rental, they quickly realize there's no internet or phone service. Meanwhile, Bert won't stop repeating that there are no video games or drugs to keep him entertained, just generally being annoying. Everyone splits off to do their own thing. Marcy and Jeff head upstairs for a romance sesh, which I immediately skipped because what the fuck? It was so long and I felt like I was watching Korn. Way too much for a horror movie in my opinion. Karen and Paul go for a swim, which leads to their first kiss. Cute, I guess. And then there's Bert. In case it wasn't obvious yet, he's the worst. He brought an assault rifle to the woods. Not for safety though, but to pretend he's in a video game. While he's off doing this thing, a man stumbles into the woods asking for help. So what does Bert do? He immediately shoots him because he's a dumbass who doesn't even know how to use a gun properly. So now this poor guy, already injured and begging for help, has extra bullet holes in his chest, all thanks to good old Bert over here. Bert says he'll get help, but can you guess if he actually did? No, of course not. He didn't. Because he's an asshole. A couple of hours later, they're hanging out by the bonfire when some random dude shows up with his dog. The movie really wants us to think he's creepy, but why? He's dressed like a regular hiker, he looks like a perfectly nice guy, and isn't even saying anything weird. So I was just sitting there like, what exactly am I supposed to be afraid of here? And then he never shows up again, so what was the point of the scene? It starts raining, so they all head inside. Eventually, the guy with the literal bullet holes in his chest shows up again. Still desperate for help because, yeah, he's still injured. But instead of, helping him, they decide to set him on fire. Their excuse: he was going crazy and was infected. No, he was not going crazy. He was just trying to defend himself because you guys are the real psychopaths here. Oh my god, I need to calm down. This movie. And as if that wasn't bad enough, they somehow managed to wreck their own car in the process. For no reason at all, other than, I guess, a plot block. Nothing really happens for a while after that, and before you know it, boom, we're halfway through the movie, and it just feels like you've wasted precious years, precious time out of your life that you'll never get back. Karen was the only one who really actually seemed remotely concerned and wanted to leave, but of course she got gaslit into being as dumb as the rest of them. So naturally, they all stayed. Eventually, Karen starts showing signs of infection. Her skins begin peeling and ulcerating, and instead of, I don't know, helping her, they decide to lock her in her room out of fear of getting infected themselves. But here's the kicker. They don't even stick to their own logic. They still go into her room, still touch her when they eventually drag her out to the shed. So what was the point of that? Make it make sense, dude. At one point, a cop just randomly shows up, even though nobody called for one. At first, I thought Bert was the weirdest character in this movie, but no, this cop takes the weird crown, bro. None, and I mean absolutely none, of her sentences or conversations make any sense. She's so random that it's not even funny. It's just straight up confusing. She tells them a tow truck will come tomorrow, but why not now? Just another lazy plot block to drag this movie out even longer, I guess. She's not the only one spouting nonsense though. Every conversation in this movie has something weird going on. Some lines feel like they come out of absolutely nowhere, as if parts of different conversations got chopped up and then randomly pasted throughout the film. Honestly, it all feels pointless anyways because none of their conversations actually go anywhere. It's like they're just talking for the sake of filling screen time. The next moment, the rabid dog. Yeah, it turns out the dog from earlier with the random guy got infected too. It starts barking and clawing at the shed where Karen is locked up behind a closed door, meaning it should not be able to get in. But what do these geniuses do? They all run outside to go check on her and to help. Guys, she's fine. She's literally behind a closed door, and you are literally putting yourself into more danger just by doing that. And for absolutely no reason, because she's fine. So Bert somehow magically fixes the car, and they try to leave to get Karen to a doctor finally. But Jeff realizes Bert is infected too and doesn't want to get in a car with him. So what does Bert do? He literally just leaves. He drives off, bro. He's gone. He just leaves them all there and goes off to get help alone. This guy is so dumb. I can't. I hate this dude. So Jeff bails because he doesn't want to get infected. Fair enough. But for some reason, he takes all the beer with him. Like, why? Now it's just Paul and Marcy having the weirdest conversation ever. Marcy says something I promise you no one in the world has ever thought before. It's like being on a plane when you know it's gonna crash. Everyone around you is screaming, yelling, "We're going down, we're going down." And all you really want to do is grab the person next to you and F the stuff out of them. because you know you're gonna be dead soon anyway. End quote. And of course, they proceed to have a love scene. And yeah, I skipped this one too, because why are these scenes so long, bro? And awkward. So Bert ends up back at the gas station where they stopped at the beginning of the movie, when they got beer, and he's asking for a doctor. The dad goes inside to get one, and even though Bert is literally 2 meters away from this kid in the bunny mask, the kid just walks up to him and bites him. And what does the dad do? He comes storming out yelling, "What have you done?" As if Bert somehow made the kid bite him. And then they all grab their guns and start chasing Bert to kill him and his friends. Oh my god. Going back to Paul and Marcy, after their love affair, Paul heads out for a walk to find help while Marcy decides to take a bath. While she's soaking, she starts to notice her skin is literally peeling off of herself, okay? Safe to say that she's infected. And at the same time, Paul makes a discovery. The lake water is what's causing the infection. The house's water supply comes directly from the lake, which explains why everyone's been getting sick, because they've been drinking it and Marcy's bathing in it, etc. Marcy, completely naked with her skin falling off, bolts out the house because why not throw in another random bit of nudity? She runs straight into the rabid dog and she dies by rabid dog. Meanwhile, Bert gets shot by the people hunting him down. Soon after, those people end up all dying because Paul decided to take Bert's AR and shoot all of them. After finishing off Karen because, she was tired of being in pain. Poor girl. So she asked Paul to do it. Paul decides to look for help again. This next part, hands down the dumbest part of the entire movie, and I still can't wrap my head around it. Paul stumbles upon a group of campers sitting around a campfire playing music. These people are essentially irrelevant, except for one person. The police officer from the middle of the movie. So glad to see you again. Why is she here? No idea. Paul starts questioning her, asking why she never called the tow truck, and she comes up with some BS excuses. Then she gets a call on her radio. The message is something along the lines of, "There are kids in the woods who are armed and dangerous and spreading infection. Kill on sight." What? No investigation, no checks to see if these kids are okay. And who even called this in the first place? They're in the middle of nowhere, and this is just too much. Somehow, Paul convinces her not to shoot him, and she gives him the information he needs about directions to the main road. These directions just send him deeper into the woods, and he ends up succumbing to the infection. Finally, we see Jeff coming back to the campsite and basically telling everybody, "I told you so," even though they're all dead and don't care. Well, he ends up getting no-scoped and killed by the friggin' cop. The movie finishes with the cops and cleanup crew at the house, but literally none of them are wearing protective equipment, so they're probably all gonna get infected too. I just went through a lot of the negative points about this movie, well, because this movie was pretty trash. But you know what wasn't trash? The cinematography. Oh my goodness. The beauty in this film is amazing. The forest and the settings are all very well captured. To me, the filming is 10 out of 10. The acting, it wasn't horrible for some characters. I mean, Bert and the cop obviously had horrible acting and lines and scripting, in my opinion, but the actor who played Paul was actually really amazing at demonstrating his fear without being too cringe. The SFX was also pretty good. Like I said at the beginning of this video, there is a lot of gore in this movie. The blood and tearing, ulcerating flesh looked pretty realistic in my opinion, so that was pretty cool. With all of that being said, I ended up giving this movie a 2 out of 10. The 2 being for the cinematography and the SFX. I think this movie could have been so good because you can tell it definitely was not low budget, but the writing and the scripting definitely fell short. I want to know your thoughts on everything. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I'll be checking them because I need to know if it's just me or if everybody had a similar feeling for this one. If there are any horror movies, books, or video you would like me to check out and make commentary on, let me know and I might just do it. That is all for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please leave a like and a subscribe if you did, and I will see you all next time. And as per usual, stay spooky. Bye everybody.